Democrats used the coronavirus for the impeachment, the sequel. I told you this was coming. Nancy Botox Pelosi wasted no time, exactly 1 week from the passing of the first $2 trillion spending package, which I told you had over $300 million in it, for a panel to be put together to investigate the United States handling of the coronavirus, which was code for how can we nail the Trump administration this time. And over the weekend, Adam Schiff for brains reemerged out of his corona quarantine to start making the rounds on the news channels to start talking about we need to get Donald Trump. He put us all in danger.
But when it became publicly known, which was as early as late December, and then reports started coming in January of this new respiratory virus in China, we lost precious weeks in getting the testing ramped up. There were flaws in the original testing. We didn't have enough protective gear. We don't have enough ventilators. So we were ill prepared before this crisis hit. When it did hit, the administration moved very slowly. The president, even into March, was downplaying the significance of this and comparing it to the ordinary flu and talking about people being back in church by Easter.
Nancy Pelosi has all but accused the president of being responsible for lives being dead based on his handling of the situation.
What the president, his denial at the beginning was deadly. His delaying of getting equipment to where it continues, his delay in getting equipment to where it's needed is deadly.
When Mitch McConnell and President Trump have both tweeted out that, hey, you know, in December and January, we were a little distracted with a thing called the impeachment process, Adam Schiff took that as, aha, it's an admission.
Mitch McConnell said that he believes that the impeachment trial in the Senate slowed down the federal government's response to the pandemic. What's your response to that?
Yeah, the president said something similar, which, was an interesting acknowledgement that the administration has screwed up this response.
What were the Democrats actually saying in January and February about COVID-19?
The risk to New Yorkers for coronavirus is low.
And our city preparedness is high.
This should not stop you from going about your life, should not stop you from going to Chinatown and going out to eat. I'm going to do that today myself.
Come to Chinatown. Here we are. We're, again, careful, safe, and come join us.
There is no concern at this time for coronavirus in our region.
The Department of Sanitation is ready for Mardi Gras 2020.
The facts are reassuring.
We want New Yorkers to go about their daily lives.
There's really no need to panic and to avoid activities that we always do as New Yorkers. We are a hardy people.
Americans do not need to panic. What I would suggest, however, is that Americans take this as a wake-up call for seasonal flu.
There's very little threat here. This disease, even if you were to get it, basically acts like a common cold or flu.
So we're telling New Yorkers, go about your lives, take the subway, go out, enjoy life.
And certainly not to miss the parade next Sunday. I'm going to be there.
If you had to, would you close down the borders?
No.
We need to be honest about the American people, with the American people, about the fact that we can't keep people coming here from China.
And transmission is not that easy. I think there's been a misperception that coronavirus hangs in the air waiting to catch you. No, it takes direct person-to-person contact.
We also know that if it were likely to be transmitted casually, we would be seeing a lot more cases.
Right.
Yeah.
Democrats never let a good tragedy, a good crisis go to waste without either personal financial gain or a way to do the most hurt and inflict the most destruction upon their political adversaries. And once again, the Democrats are in rare form. In fact, they've even attacked the president over the shortage of masks, to which he said, yeah, where did they all go? We had a vast supply of masks. Now all of a sudden they're gone. Did someone take them?
something's going on, and you ought to look into it as reporters. Where are the masks going? Are they going out the back door?
He made this claim that there seem to be masks that are disappearing from New York, perhaps out a back door, he suggested. We want to make sure we point out he suggested this without any evidence. We are, of course, working to fact check those claims. But I was hoping to get your response to what the president had to say along those lines.
Well, I think his allegations about New York hospitals were beyond absurd. I've talked to most of our hospital heads throughout New York City and the state, and I can tell you their hospital personnel are the heroes of this moment.
To even hint at that, Democrats wasted no time in saying, see that? The president is now accusing the most valued members of our society, the health care givers. By the way, I lose track with Democrats who the most valued people of our society are, because they tell us that they're ambassadors that get fired, FBI directors that get fired, secretaries of war and destruction who get fired. These are all these impeccable people with absolutely unvarnished, unstained, impeccable credentials. And now all of a sudden, and by the way, I have a wife who is on the front lines of this. She is a registered nurse, so I know full well. But people, when they're panicked, when they're fearful, they will do things, no matter what walk of life they're from. In fact, a week before President Trump said this, Andrew Cuomo, America's mayor, said the exact same thing.
One of the things we've heard from healthcare professionals, there have been thefts of medical equipment and masks from hospitals, believe it or not. Not just people taking a couple or three, just actual thefts of those products. I've asked the state police to do an investigation, look at marketplaces that are selling masks, et cetera, medical equipment, protective wear, playing into this, exploiting the anxiety.
And did you hear? The mayor of Los Angeles, Mayor Garcetti, is now saying there are rewards for you in the city of Los Angeles if you turn in your neighbors who aren't following stay at home. Are you kidding me? In fact, he said in a press conference, the old saying, snitches get stitches. Well, not in Los Angeles. They get rewards. So there's now money and incentive and reward if you turn in your neighbor. I think they've got 11 people in your house. I think that they... Turning in businesses, turn in. Is this Nazi Germany? Where are your papers? Who is that person staying in your house? Is he a Jew? Do you see where we're at? Do you fully grasp what's happening? And even our president now alluding to, well, maybe we will have to have everyone walking around in face masks. Do you understand the gravity of the takeover? I hope so. That's it for this quick little mini rant. Hey, make sure you're a subscriber to the channel. I noticed that we had gone over 4,000 subscribers. Then all of a sudden we got knocked back to 3.99 thousand, and it's just locked there. So help us get our subscriptions up by giving us a thumbs up and a like, spreading this video to your social media platforms. Make sure you have smacked the bell and clicked the word all to get notification of my rants.